Hey folks, in today's video, I'm going to show you how we can add dynamic badges on product cards based off of whether the product is in a collection or not. Now, as a professional developer, this is a pretty common request I get because whenever there's a product anywhere on the site, a lot of merchants and stores want to be able to shout out that, this product or a certain product is part of a certain collection to help promote a certain deal or so on. A really good practical example of this is I currently have a client where they wanted to run a 12 days of Christmas sale. And in each collection, they have certain products and they want to highlight which day that product is in the sale. So without further ado, we're going to dive into a little bit of code today. And we are going to be using the reference theme here called the skeleton theme, which you can find in the description of this video. But if you're just looking to code this into your current theme, honestly, this video is going to work. So the way that this process will go down is essentially we will create a setting to add our reference collection directly on the left-hand side. So over here, we will create a setting for which collections we want the badge to be applied to. Number two is we'll create a snippet for the badge so that we can include that snippet below our sales badge over here. And then we will also create the liquid logic so that we can display a badge based off of if this product is in a particular collection. And then we'll add the snippet to the card and style it a little bit as well too. So the first thing that we'll want to do is add in our theme setting so that we can select what collection we want the badge to be related to. So inside the config file over here, there will be this file called settings underscore schema. And then what we'll want to do is scroll down to the bottom and then create our schema for our collection. So there's a few different ingredients that we'll need. One is we'll need a certain collection that we want to reference. Two is we'll want to also have some sort of text that we want to display inside the badge. And so essentially the way that this logic will work is if this product is in the collection within the settings, then we will display the badge with the text that we have within the settings. So what I'll do here is I'm using cursor, so I'm just going to hit tab to give us some general boilerplate code here, but essentially we'll name the setting collection badge. So I dropped in a bit of code here, and essentially what this code does is we are able to reference now a text field to change the text of the badge or the contents of the badge. And then I've also added in the collection that we will be referencing. So now if I go over to the left-hand side, we'll notice that in our theme settings, we now have this collection badge dropdown, and we have badge or the badge text over here. And then we have the collection that we can reference to create the logic for if a product is in this collection, then we will display this badge. So great, that's done. Now we're on to step two. Step two is creating the snippet with the liquid logic. So we're going to go into our snippets folder here. We're going to create a new file, and we are going to call this collection badge.liquid. And I'm actually going to give it a dash because I am picky. Great. Now the next thing we're going to do is just define our liquid variables over here. So I'm going to hit assign, and then we'll reference custom badge, and cursor thought it was section.settings.custom badge, but actually, since we are referencing the theme settings, it is actually just settings._custom badge. I believe that's what we named it. Let's just double check here. Yeah, custom badge. Then the next thing that we need to reference in our snippet is the badge collection. So I'm going to go back over into the snippet. Great. So now the next thing that we have to do is before actually even writing our liquid logic, let's just add the badge in as a static badge in the top right-hand corner of the card. So to do that, I am going to just copy my other badge that I have, which is the sale badge here, and I'm going to paste it into my collection badge. And instead of the text being sale, we'll want to reference custom badge, which we have defined up top. Great. And so now, in order to reference this file, we'll want to go back over into our collection. And in your case, you'll want to reference it inside the product card. You could definitely search for product card. And then I typically recommend trying to center the badge within the image if you are able to as well. So now that we're back inside the product card, what we'll want to do is reference the collection badge. So we will do a render collection badge here. And actually, I don't want to paste it in my content. I want to paste it up top in by my other badge here. And I will reference the product by going dash product. Great. That might be useful for later. So now we see that they're both kind of aligned, kind of funny. We have amazing sale. And I think that this badge is actually covering up our other badge, funny enough. So what I'm going to do is actually just create a bit of a container for this called collection badges. And I'm going to paste both in. And then I'm going to go down to my CSS here. And instead of each badge having absolute and covering each other, I'm going to say that the container that's holding the badges will have an absolute position, which will center it to the top right. And then I'll remove the position from the product badge and also the index as well too. Then the other thing that I will do is for the badges, just set the width to fit content to improve the styling a little bit. And then in here, I'll do display flex and then give it a bit of a gap as well too. So awesome. That is looking pretty good so far. So up until this point in the video, we have created a badge. We've also created our settings within the theme. Now we need to create the liquid logic so that we are only displaying the amazing sale badge if this product is in the certain collection over here. So what we will do is go back over to our collection badge snippet, and we will write that logic. I have some notes here that I want to provide with this logic, and it's pretty important. So the first is if you loop over collection.products without pagination, you'll only ever see the first 50 products in that collection. I've been burned by this before because I've built logic assuming we were checking the entire collection, but Shopify quietly only stops at 50. The second note I want to make is what we're doing in this video is looping over product collections. That's usually a better pattern, but it has its own limits. Shopify only loads the first 50 collections for a product. On most stores, this is totally fine. But for more complex and heavy stores that, if the product is in over 60 plus collections, the badge might not show as expected. And so if you have a store where there's tons of collections, this product needs to be in over 50 plus collections, which is fairly large. You can actually, instead of using Liquid, you'll want to use JavaScript and then fetch all of the different collections to figure out whether the badge should fall in it or not. But for this example, which works with 90% of the stores, we're just using Liquid logic. So we're going to write that now. So the first thing that we want to write is if the product is in product.collections, and we will end this if. Great. So I'm just going to fast forward to this bit of code here. And so essentially what this code does is we are checking to see if the product is attached to the collection. So we're running a quick little for loop to check. And then if it is, then we are displaying the badge. So what I will do is you'll notice that the badge isn't displaying anymore because we don't have a collection selected. But if I select the current collection that this is in, the badge should display. Awesome. So now we see here that the amazing sale badge displays. So this logic will also actually work on any product card that the snippet is in. So most likely within your theme, you will end up adding the snippet within the product card. And then on the homepage, if there's a certain carousel or slider that uses that same product card, that has the snippet in it, you will also see this sale badge here, which is perfect and intended. So long story short, we were able to build this custom badge where we were able to display it based off of if the product was in the collection and then dynamically display it using Liquid. If you found this video useful, I highly recommend that you check out other videos on my YouTube channel. I make videos on different coding concepts for Shopify themes, and really every video is just centered around folks that are actively building inside of Shopify themes. And so I want this to be the go-to channel and the go-to resource for folks like you who are most likely always working on client projects, and hopefully I can save you a bit of time instead of you guessing and trying to figure out how to build certain things. Anyways, hope this video was useful to you, and cheers.